open palm is okay, but apparently no fingers. Fascinating customs of Thailand. That's what I'd like to speak about today. Also, I'm exploring the southern beaches of Pattaya, of Jomtien, on the bike. When I visited Vietnam for the first time and stayed in Ho Chi Minh City, I was flabbergasted at the frivolous use of car horns and bike horns on the road in daily life.
No problem. 2 minutes, 2 minutes.
สบาย สบาย No rush. ใจเย็น The streets of Saigon are just an orchestra of beeps and honks.
ขอบคุณครับ
But here in Thailand, things are very, very different. In fact, the use of horns is heavily frowned upon. So much so that on the news recently, 2 men, after a horn incident, ended up shooting each other. We can't talk about fascinating Thai customs without mentioning feet, because there's no love lost on feet here. In Thai culture, the head is the most sacred part of the body, any body, including animals, and the feet are the lowest, because feet are the things that get dirty when you're walking around on the ground. Therefore, the head is special and the feet, they're not so sacred. In fact, they're to be kept away from important things. Feet are not meant to be used for many other things. Really, nothing else except walking. And one thing that I've learnt that feet should not be used for is as a tool to point. I've done this with Lele the other day. She was picking an ice cream and I said, oh, do you want that one? And she slapped my leg and said, no, don't do that. And I thought, I forgot. I'd read about this, but in the heat of the moment, I'd forgotten. Feet are not a massive thing. No one's going to report you to immigration or cart you off to prison if you use your feet in the wrong way. Actually, speaking of feet, we might walk over there because I've just spotted what looks to be like a burnt out super yacht. Oh man. When I was sitting over there talking about feet, I could smell something a bit burny. It's a full fiberglass boat that's had a catastrophic disaster. I probably don't want to breathe too much of that in because fiberglass is toxic as shit. Polyester's bad. Let's have a look around the other side. And that is tragic.
Now we take you to Jomtien, where this footage taken by our teams here at the Pattaya News over the past weekend, nobody was injured. There were 3 staff members on board, including the captain, who they managed to get off the boat very quickly. According to the captain of the vessel, the Coco, it had recently undergone various repairs and they were just taking it out for a short test drive to make sure that the repairs had gone well.
All right, I'm gonna jump back on the bike. We're gonna head a bit further down the beach and I'll talk about the next one. The banknotes, Thai banknotes, also pretty sacred. Why? Because they have the face of the king printed on the note, right? Now the king is super sacred here. I don't know what it's like in America or England, but I can tell you in Australia, we do terrible things to our banknotes. We scrunch them up and they just generally get treated really badly. In Thailand, that can't happen here. In fact, a shop owner or someone behind the counter is entitled to reject your money if it's not crease-free and in good condition. Well, if you're like me, clumsy as hell and I drop my stuff all the time, including notes, especially in wind like this, if you drop your money and you see the note flying away, whoop, you cannot go and stop it with your foot. That is deeply disrespectful. No doing anything with your feet. You guys need to use a wallet to keep the money clean and in order. All right, this one's an interesting. Public displays of affection. It is considered culturally insensitive to show too much affection, particularly to your loved one or your romantic partner in public. Now, I've managed to get Lele to the point where she'll kiss me in public, like a little peck on the cheek, maybe. You see it in Pattaya, you know, a foreigner and a holiday girlfriend, they might be kissing in the street, but for someone like me who's traveling here and, you know, really is trying their best to abide by the Thai customs so as not to offend anyone, then being cognizant of this cultural expectation is worth keeping in mind. And now let's have a look at this pretty fishing village in Jomtien. I love the red boats. My little bike ride took me down to Rock and Sand Cafe down here in Jomtien. So look that up on the map, Rock and Sand Cafe, if you want to find out how to get to this cool, super cool little fishing village.
Don't need you to say
ครับโอ้ very เย็นเย็นขอบคุณครับ
Any luck to come my way, yeah. Feel good, be good.
I'll just quickly go over the next one, and that's anger in public. Thai people value a cool and calm demeanor. Raising your voice in anger or showing aggression in public is also heavily frowned upon here.
Stay good and live good. If I could feel good, I'd live good.
The next fascinating Thai custom that I want to talk about is wearing revealing clothing when you're visiting temples. So it's expected that you cover your knees and your shoulders if you're going into a temple. And I know when I visited Bangkok recently with Mum and Keys and Lele, we headed down to Wat Arun and the temples around Wat Arun. And I noticed outside the temples were these little stalls all selling long pants for men and women because that's what was expected. I think we can all understand that one. Temples, holy places, don't fuck around. Now I've got a surprise one for you. You're gonna like this one. Don't drive shirtless. It's actually a rule. Now I think it stems from the culture of covering up. Some people hate it when foreigners parade around with their shirts off. Now, at the beach, of course, it's acceptable, but if you're leaving that vicinity, I think throw a singlet on. And also, don't try and get in a taxi without a shirt. It's no secret that vendors is a massive thing here in Thailand, and bargaining at the shop or on the street with someone for a product or service, that is the norm. But what's not accepted here is aggressive bargaining. There's actually a bit of loss of face associated with that, because it looks like you're conflicting with a foreigner in the street, and whilst bargaining is okay, aggressive bargaining, not so much. And when I find myself in a situation where I'm being heckled a little bit too much by someone on the street, they're offering something that I have no interest in whatsoever, I still try and stay polite when I say no. And there's varying ways of politely saying no. Number one, the super polite way is saying no, thank you, my cup. So I would just say, my cup, my cup, my cup. Now, if that vendor is really frustrating you and they persist and persist, you can step it up. And this is quite a large step. You can say, my ow. Now that is a very heavy no, my ow. But I would reserve that for times when vendors have really overstepped the mark. I'll probably just touch quickly on dinner table etiquette. In Thailand, it is customary in your right hand, use the spoon, and in your left hand, use a fork, and you actually use the fork to push the food onto the spoon, and then you eat with the spoon. It's as simple as that. There's just a few of the many fascinating customs here in Thailand. If you found that they were interesting, drop me a comment, and I'll do another video delving a little bit deeper. But for now, thank you for tuning in.